Hello, welcome everyone. My apologies that I cannot be with you on this, the first day of our official program together. I'm very excited to get started with you all, but unfortunately, I had a family event come up this evening that I needed to participate in, so I will not be with you today, but I did want to go ahead and record this video for you all for your reference purposes, to just reiterate some of the most important things I think that we went over last week during orientation. Some of you were there, some of you maybe were not there, and for whom this will be the first time you're seeing this information. So for those of you that I saw last week, welcome back, glad to see you again. And for those of you for whom this is your first day, welcome. We're so happy to have you. So let's go through some program kickoff, welcome to generation information. All right, so if Emily has not already done so, they are going to post a link to an attendance form in the chat. And I'm sure they're going to go ahead and do it again anyway, just in case they missed anyone with their first couple of links. We'll be using an attendance form like this every day. It's just a Google form where you put your first name and your last name so that we know that you are here. Now we're going to go quickly through some welcome and introductions. I am Adam Reesner. I am the instructor for this course, the JWD Flex 2 cohort. This will be my third cohort as the instructor and my fifth cohort total participating at generation in some form or fashion. Emily Brockett is one of our 4 teaching assistants. They've been with me for the past 2 cohorts that I've been working. Bobby Massa is another one of the 4 teaching assistants, and has also been with me for the last 2 cohorts. This is our 3rd cohort together. Renu Shinde is the 3rd of the 4 teaching assistants, and she has also been with me for 2 cohorts. So we are happy to have her back for a 3rd round. And finally, Yuwabdar Solomon, who goes by Mimi. She has been with me for just a hair under 1 full cohort now, so we're happy to have her back for a 2nd one. And these are your 4 teaching assistants. So aside from me, these are the people that make up the backbone of the instructional team. Okay, it'll be the 5 of us together that form the instructional team that will be guiding you through the day-to-day of this program. So now I want to say welcome to Generation USA. And I want to talk a little bit about your curriculum specifics. Our learning objectives for the session, I would like for you to understand the program outline and types of sessions, understand what a typical learning day looks like. I would like you to understand Generation's role and what is expected from you, the learner. I would like you to understand the additional mentoring and support available and know who the key staff members are and how to contact them. I apologize if I'm going a little bit fast through this. I don't have the feedback mechanism of you raising your hand to ask questions, or just looking at your faces to see how things are going. So I do apologize about that. But luckily you have this video for reference purposes in perpetuity, and you have the lovely TAs with you. If anything is too confusing, you can raise your hand to ask a question while we're playing this video. So first we're going to go over the what and when, and then the how and who. Don't mind the time here. It's going to go a little bit faster than that. I'm hoping to fit all of this into 30 total minutes. But first, what and when. There are 7 types of sessions. We have technical sessions, which are probably what you imagine most when you think of a programming boot camp, things like learning how to use the various technologies that you must be facile with to be a web developer, like the languages, HTML, CSS, JavaScript, GitHub, which is a website where you can sort of store information that other people, it's like Dropbox, but for a bit more of a social media orientation, and it's for programming specifically. So that's one type of session. And we have behavioral skills and mindset sessions. These, what I refer to as BSMs, and what I will be referring to as BSMs for the majority of the rest of the course. These BSM sessions are largely what set us apart from other programming bootcamp operations out there. These BSM sessions give you the practice and the skills and the space to learn and ask questions about these skills and mindsets that will allow you to be a cut ahead of others when it comes to actually looking for work. These are the things that employers really need. Okay, the technical things, employers sometimes are willing to take a bit more of a gamble on you if you are strong in these BSM categories. It is harder to teach somebody how to be a good communicator than it is to teach somebody who kind of knows JavaScript, the specific things that they do need to be good at to succeed in a particular job. So these BSM sessions will allow you to practice these skills, to think more clearly and critically about them and how they contribute to your development and growth as a web developer. So that's one kind of session that we do. Then we do skills application sessions. These are where we take these BSM skills and sometimes your technical skills, and we ask you to apply them in a certain format, generally a scenario of some kind that will ask you to navigate using the information that you know. We have employment essentials sessions. These are things like how to handle the various forms of media that you'll need to master, or at least be able to navigate on a proficient level to be employed, to seek employment in this field or in any field, really. These are things like, what is a resume? What goes in a resume? How do you write a cover letter? What is a cover letter used for? In some of these sessions, you're more likely to see a career coach because that is some of what they are experts in relative to us on the instructional team, who may be more experts in the technical BSM side of things here. And we'll talk about your career coaches in just a minute, who those are, if that term confused you. But these sessions are meant to focus on things that you need for employment. Then we have reflection and reinforcement sessions. These are for your personal reflection and reinforcement over how you're doing, what your progress has been like, strengths and weaknesses that you have. We have social support and mentoring. These are for you and your peers to talk sort of laterally to one another, and occasionally for you to talk to your TAs. And look for some mentoring support there. And then finally, we have community sessions. These are sessions that are just meant to make us come together and see one another, as participants and peers in the same process and goal, which other sessions don't necessarily center as a theme. So those are 7 types of sessions. This program is 4 short courses in 21 weeks, not 11, 21 weeks. The courses are broken up as follows: introduction to the role. What is a web developer? What do they do? Programming fundamentals. What are the very core foundational ideas and concepts of programming? Web development fundamentals. What are the sort of one step further down that path? What are the essential features of web development? What are the very basic ideas at play and technologies that you must use? And finally, JavaScript for web development. JavaScript is the sort of most complex part of our program here. So of course we save it for last. We want to give you a good foundation in the other aspects of web development, and JavaScript will sort of come last. These are our important dates. Our orientation start date was last Wednesday, November 17th of 2021. Our class start date is Monday, November 22nd, 2021. That is today. We have a couple holidays that are scheduled. I understand there are more holidays that will come up, but these are the holidays that we currently have scheduled to take fully off. We will have to continue to be communicative about holidays that come up as the course progresses, but these are the holidays we currently have scheduled off. Thanksgiving, which is the Thursday of this week, we will not have class on Thanksgiving Day, and nor will we give you assignments to complete on Thanksgiving Day. And then we have a winter break, which starts Friday, December 24th and ends Sunday, January 2nd. So that means that we will be back in class that Monday, January 3rd of 2022. And the graduation date is to be determined. The end of the cohort, I believe, is April 22nd. So of course, graduation will follow that date. It will not be before the last day of classes, but what specific day it is, I do not know at this time. Our daily schedule is going to fluctuate a bit. So I want to show you a couple of examples of what a day that is called synchronous might look like and what a day that is called asynchronous might look like. There may be slight variations across the days in terms of when the break and flex times are, the length of the sessions, and when the independent learning occurs. But these are just examples. You will see the terms synchronous and asynchronous. Synchronous means it's something akin to the format that you're experiencing right now, where you're in a Zoom room together with everyone, an instructor is leading the session, or there's an activity occurring that everyone is participating in simultaneously. That's sort of the synchronous idea. And asynchronous means that it is a session that you are working on independently of others. Now, if it's an asynchronous session on a synchronous day, okay, you will stay in this Zoom call. You will just likely be put into breakout rooms to work asynchronously on your assignments. If it's an asynchronous day, there will not be a Zoom call requirement. You will not be required to sign on to the Zoom call unless your pod leader has instructed you otherwise. Synchronous days are Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday from 6 to 9. These are the days that you must be on the Zoom call completing work with us. Asynchronous days are Tuesday, Friday, and Saturday. Okay, those are days when you do not have to be on the call participating in class, again, unless your pod leader, one of your TAs, has instructed you otherwise. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Remember, this is a boot camp style training, so it will be intense. We're here to support you, but the expectation is that you are ready to dedicate those 3 hours, and really, I would schedule about 4 hours on Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday to class. Okay, you're prepared to dedicate that time to class. Some days we're going to get out at 9, some days we're going to get out at 9:30. It's best to plan to be in class a little bit early and to be able to stay just a tad bit over time in case you run into a question or we have to talk to you about something. So that's intense. Outside of that time, there are 3 asynchronous days, Tuesday, Friday, Saturday, on which we expect you to be completing roughly 3 to 4 hours of work as well. So in total, we're asking you to make essentially a 24-hour commitment over the period of a week to working on things and assignments for this class. So we're here to support you, but that is the expectation. Class begins at 6 p.m. Eastern time and ends between 9 and 9:30 p.m. That should say Eastern time, my apologies. All times for this course are in Eastern Standard Time unless otherwise specified. So again, this class is 6 to 9 or 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. If I do not specify the time zone I'm speaking about. When I say a time, I'm speaking in Eastern Standard Time, okay? So 6 to 9 or 9:30 Eastern Standard Time, depending on the day. Those are our class times. So here is an example of a synchronous day. This is what the synchronous day may look like. Now, I can tell you this is not what day 3 actually is going to look like this time around. In fact, let's just go ahead and look at it together. So this is your Canvas home page. I'm going to head over here to my calendar using this link on the left panel here. Click on that, and I can see, okay, here's my day 3. It highlights the day that it is on your calendar. So if I look at the schedule on my day 1, it'll tell me what you're doing today. Let's look at day 3. Day 3 is Wednesday, November 24th. Class again starts at 6 o'clock. All of our classes will start at 6 o'clock unless otherwise specified. We start with a synchronous introduction to daily opening session. Then we have some asynchronous work time. Then we have a synchronous session, 7:15 to 7:45. We take a break and we have another synchronous session. Okay. So that is an example of our schedule. Now I realize it says 6:15 to 6:30 and then 7:15 to 7:45. That is likely a typo. This is meant to say 6:15 to 7:15. My apologies about that, folks. In fact, let me just fix that right now. Give me just a moment. All right, sorry about that, folks, but now it is updated. It says 6:15 to 7:15, which is the accurate time window that we have for that. So what this day will look like is you'll sign on by 5:55. We will start the day at 6 with our introduction to daily opening. We'll do that all together. Then we'll open up breakout rooms, put you in those breakout rooms from 6:15 to 7:15 for you to complete your asynchronous work. That's what the A in parentheses means right here. It means asynchronous. This session is asynchronous. Then at 7:15, we'll close those breakout rooms, come on back together. And from 7:15 to 7:45, we will conduct a synchronous session all together, led by one or more of the instructional team. Then we will just take a 15-minute break. And 8 o'clock to 9:30, we will have another synchronous session. Okay, so that's what the day is going to look like. It'll be about 15 minutes of synchronous, about an hour of asynchronous, and then the rest of the day will be primarily synchronous sessions, with the exception of this 15-minute break. All right. Now, while we're here, let's go ahead and look together at an asynchronous day. So again, our asynchronous days are Tuesday, Friday, and Saturday of every week. Each and every week, the breakdown of synchronous and asynchronous days will be the same unless there's a holiday, which we let you know. So Tuesday is our first asynchronous day together. So asynchronous again means you complete these on your own time. You'll see times listed here, 6 to 7, 7 to 8, 8 to 9. This is just to give you a rough approximation of how much time we think you should be devoting to a particular session. It is not to say you must complete it between 6 and 7, 7 and 8, 8 and 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. It is simply to say we think each of these things will take you roughly an hour to complete. Okay, and you'll notice on Tuesday you've got a heck of a lot of other boxes on this day. So this top box right here on every day, there's this top box which will give you the schedule for the day. For example, let's look at Thanksgiving. Schedule is no class because of Thanksgiving. Okay, great. Now we know what the schedule is for that day. But if you click on this top box on Tuesday, it gives you the assignments that we want you to be working on for the day. But you'll notice there are a bunch of other boxes here. These other boxes represent the various different things that you can submit on any given day. The reason why those boxes populate like this is not because I want you to go through and click on each one individually and work your way this way. They just represent things that you are going to encounter as you progress through your assignments. So the way I want you to access your assignments is always come to your calendar to find them. You'll notice, if I go back to my courses here, in student view, you'll notice you have a bunch of links over here: announcements, discussions, pages, files. I don't want you to use those things to access assignments. Okay, if you want to look at those links, that's up to you. As long as it's not going to confuse you, I don't really have a problem with it. But the way I want you to access your assignments, again, I want you to start at your home page, go to the calendar, and navigate through the schedule for the day. Okay, so for example, Tuesday, you have these 3 assignments. So let's navigate through them together. I think right click, open link in new tab. That way you always keep this calendar open and you know what is assigned to you on any given day. And you can start to work your way through these assignments. I can take this survey. Okay. Now, obviously, when you take the survey, I would need for you to answer these questions seriously. But for the sake of time, I'm just going to submit an empty quiz. Okay, it's been submitted. I can move on. And I will keep progressing through these assignments. Reading, again, I'm speeding through these because I'm just trying to demonstrate how I want you to navigate the assignment. But of course, my expectation is that you will be reading all of this information. There's a quiz here. Got these. Again, I'm just going to be submitting this. Again, just submitting. And as I progress, and I've been submitting these assignments, I should notice that on my calendar, things will start to get crossed off. If I go back to my calendar and I refresh the page, notice I have 3 things crossed off here, and I didn't have to directly access any of them. These are merely meant to represent the things that I'm going to encounter as I progress through the day's assignments, okay? So now I can come back here and I can look and see, I have completed 4 of my, I think it's roughly 16 different submitted assignments for the day. Awesome. Now I know I have a way of tracking what is complete, and I should, at the end of the day, see all of these crossed off. Okay, our expectation is that you're completing this work on the day that it is assigned. If you do not, the assignments shouldn't close, and on occasions, for whatever reason that is beyond the knowledge of the instructional team, some assignments are set to have a default closing time, meaning a time after which you cannot access it. In general, this is not something that we intend. So if you encounter an issue where you can't access an assignment anymore because you missed the window that it was open during, just send one of us a message, send me a message, and I will go ahead and hop on and fix that for you so that you can access it again. So our expectation is that you're completing your assignments on the days that they are assigned. So for Tuesday, these are the assignments I want you to complete by the end of the day Tuesday. I don't want you to push these things back and wait until just before class starts on Wednesday to complete them, because that can work fine until it doesn't, and then you are significantly behind and it's very hard to catch up. So don't put yourself in that position. Plan to complete the assignments on the days that they are assigned. All right, let's go back to our presentation here. Okay, office hours. Our office hours take place from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Tuesday and Friday. Okay. During these windows of time, myself and 2 of your 4 TAs will be available to answer questions, to walk you through things. Eventually, we will have, once we have broken you into pods, we will have time specifically scheduled for you to meet with your pod leader, which is one of our TAs, to check in, get some feedback about your progress, provide some feedback or ask some questions specifically about your progress. This is more to track your personal progress, but the general office hours is for any questions related to the course, any questions at all. It can be about your personal progress. It can be about technical information that you don't understand. It can be about how to access certain things, when things are happening. Any questions about the course, go ahead and come on into office hours from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Tuesday and Friday. Okay, you are not required to come to office hours unless your specific pod leader has said otherwise. Office hours are for answering questions that come up. Okay, there are times we've set aside to provide learners with one-to-one assistance and answer questions. You may reach out to us outside of those hours, but if you can, office hours are the best time to seek help. If you have a question outside of office hours and you can't come to office hours, absolutely ask that question either by using the Slack channel or by using the parking lot, which is just a Google document where you can write out a question and we will try to provide you with the resources and information that you need to answer that question. But if you can, please come to office hours. It's always better to be able to talk about a question that you have. That way we can clear up any miscommunications right away. Now, how and who, first I'm gonna go over our cohort norms. I'm gonna kind of speed through these because again, I think I'm running out of time for this video. Arrive 5 minutes prior to class time each day. That is our expectation, that you will be coming to class 5 minutes prior to class. I understand some of you work right up until the time class that starts. If this is not the case for you, if you can arrive 5 minutes prior to class time, you absolutely should. If you are arriving late each day, we will reach out to you to try to figure out what's going on. Be respectful of your peers, instructor, and TAs. Respect is part of a healthy learning environment. I expect you to refrain from name calling, refrain from put downs, to engage in support and collaboration, to listen to one another and to help one another grow. Okay. Keep your mic muted when you're not speaking unless otherwise instructed. If I call on you or if any of the TAs call on you, then you may unmute yourself. Otherwise, please do not unmute yourself and start talking. Even if you think that you're answering a question, what happens is multiple people will unmute themselves and start talking, and then it's not multiple times the information being communicated, it is 0 times the information being communicated. So if you are interested in answering a question, please use the reactions feature to raise your hand, and that way we can call on you and then you can unmute yourself. There will be occasions where we will just ask you to unmute yourself and blurt out the answer, in which case, obviously, then it is fine for you to unmute yourself as you see fit. Otherwise, keep your mic muted when you are not speaking. Okay, this helps prevent background distraction noises as well as talking over one another. Have your camera on during synchronous sessions. Here's an example of what you may be getting up to if you do not have your camera on. I suppose you could be getting up to this if you have your camera on, but that would be a much bolder strategy. And I'm more likely to notice those things, having your camera on and your face fully visible on camera. These are extremely important. If your camera looks like this, I'm going to write you a message about it. And if I don't receive a response to that message, I'm going to assume you're not paying attention to class. If I'm going to assume that you're not paying attention to class, I'm going to consider marking you as absent for the day, even if you're on the call the whole time, because I cannot verify that you're actually present and attentive during class. Okay. It'd be like showing up to an in-person class and just scrolling on your phone the whole time. Were you there? Technically, were you present in class? I would argue you were not. Okay, so cameras on, faces on camera, not doing something else. during class time, we will be looking at your cameras to see what you're up to and make sure that you're paying attention and being attentive. If you have to turn your camera off for a moment, that's perfectly fine. Just make sure that the vast majority of the time you're in class, you have your camera on and your face present. Use a neutral background free of distractions. You'll notice I have this generation background. It's a virtual background. My room does not just look like this. If you want to learn how to add a generation background, the images have been pinned in your Slack channel, and the process is as follows. You click on the video icon. There's a little caret in your Zoom window on your video camera icon. If you click on that and click choose virtual background, it will take you to a settings window. In that settings window, there should be some options for default virtual backgrounds, or there may not be, depending on the version of Zoom that you have. And there's an option to add your own image, and that's where you'll go. Okay, and you can always ask one of us on the instructional team, or you can ask one of each other to walk you through that process if that was not entirely clear to you. Be appropriately dressed to be on screen. You'll notice that I like to wear collared shirts. Just a personal preference of mine, and it is not a requirement by any means. I realize that every single person in this slide is also wearing a collared shirt, but again, that is not meant to impress upon you the idea that you have to wear a collared shirt. It is more just to make some suggestions about the level of professional dress that we are expecting here. I expect that you wear a shirt that has that is not an undershirt. It must be a shirt that is intended to be on the very top of your to upper layer. I don't want an undershirt. I don't want no shirt. I want there to be shirts on. I want, in general, for those shirts to have sleeves. I understand some traditionally female garments don't have sleeves. That's fine. If your shoulders are generally covered, that's perfectly fine with me. What I'm looking to avoid are tank tops, essentially. Again, if you want to wear a dress, you want to get real fancy with it, that's perfectly fine. I do not mind. I just want to make sure that you are dressing in a professional way that you would be comfortable attending a job interview in, okay? Of course, I'm not going to see what you have on your lower half, so I'm not in a position to judge the types of clothes you have on in your lower half, but your upper half must be dressed appropriately to be on screen. Ask questions when needed. We cannot address a question very effectively if we don't know that it's being asked. If you don't ask it, we don't know it to be out there. You're probably not the only person with a question if you have one. So go ahead and just do yourself and your classmates and us, the instructional team, a favor and just raise your hand. Okay. Questions not directly related to the current topic or that you think of in your asynchronous time can be put in the parking lot. Parking lot is just a Google document that we will share with you every week where you can just park your questions, and we will check it every day and try to answer those questions for you. Professional communication, verbal and written, with staff and fellow classmates. Messages should include professional greeting and then your message. Particularly messages in Slack and email should be written this way. In Zoom, it's fine. We're all together. You don't need to start off a message in the Zoom chat with greetings and, I hope you're doing well or anything like that. You can just say, hey, and then proceed with your message. Be mindful of the tone of your message and how it may be interpreted. I said many times last week, I think jokes should be kept to a minimum. I don't want to overstate that position. I think I want you all to get comfortable with one another and feel safe and like you're not always having to be on your toes in this environment, because I think that's a more conducive to learning experience environment. However, I do think that we need to be mindful that jokes are, generally speaking, a luxury in the professional environment, and can frequently be misinterpreted and cause more problems than they were solving with their presence. Okay, so be mindful of the tone of your message. Means think to yourself, is there a chance that this gets interpreted negatively in a way that reflects poorly on me? And if there is a chance, either rewrite the message or just don't send it. Keep up with your assignments. Alert teas if you're getting behind. Again, the expectation is that you're completing the assignments on the days that they are assigned on. Alert teas if you're getting behind. That way we know and we can reach out to you about figuring out a way to get you back on track. Ask for help when needed. This goes along with asking questions when needed. But if you need help and you know that you need help and you don't ask for help, we will eventually discover that you need help, but it's going to be after you've needed help for a little while. Okay, it might be after you've needed help for a day, it might be after you've needed help for a week. Either way, we could have avoided a lot of the headache then that we have to then resolve if you ask for help when you need it. Okay, if you're having trouble keeping up with things, if you're having trouble, if you're anticipating a problem, any of that stuff, please ask for help. Reach out to us, reach out to your peers, figure out a way around the problem collectively. Light snacking. If you are one of those souls that I mentioned earlier who's working right up until the time class starts or just about up until that time and you can't get dinner in before class, you may let the instructional team know, hey, I'm going to be eating my dinner, and turn your camera off and eat your dinner. As long as that doesn't take too long, that's perfectly acceptable. Otherwise, cameras on. Light snacking means, generally speaking, things that can fit in the palm of your hand. Okay, so like a mandarin, mixed nuts, small things. If you're eating a hamburger, that's distracting. Okay, I don't want to see that. None of your peers want to see you eating a hamburger on camera, and I will turn your camera off if you do that. Okay, so just don't do it. Only individuals admitted to the program should have the meeting link for class sessions. I don't want any non members of the course to be sitting in on our class. Again, I want to emphasize, if I cannot verify that you are in fact a member of our class for whatever reason, then I am going to be inclined to put you in the waiting room and or just kick you out of the call altogether. This applies not only to people whom I have not seen before, but to people who log on and their screen name is not their name. Okay, I want your screen name to be your first name and your last name. It's okay if you go by a different first name. I know we have a couple of Bethlehems in this course who go by Betty. That's fine if you put your screen name as Betty. That's perfectly acceptable. However, your name should be the first name that you prefer to go by and your last name. If your name is any other configuration, I'm going to reach out to you. One of the TAs is going to reach out to you via a direct message in the Zoom chat and ask you to change it. If you do not respond to that, then I am going to consider just putting you in the waiting room or kicking you out of the call. Okay, so go ahead and make sure that your screen name reflects the name that you actually go by. Respectful of others when they're speaking, listening and not speaking over them. This goes along with the respecting your peers, instructor, and TAs from way back in our norms, okay? Part of being in a collaborative learning environment is listening to and responding to what others are saying. Do not just wait your turn to talk without listening to what others are saying. If you need a quick break, you can just step away. If you need to be away for less than 5 minutes, you can just turn your camera off and step away. You don't need to let us know every time you go to the bathroom, get up to get a glass of water, go to open the door because there's the UPS guy ringing your doorbell. We don't need to know about every time that happens. If you need to step away for more than 5 minutes, then please do let us know that you're going to be doing so, just in case we have an activity or something coming up and we need to adjust what we're doing. Breakout room activity preparation is mandatory. Be prepared to share what role you're performing in each activity with an instructor. These are not suggestions. This is not a time for you to freestyle and do your own thing. When we put you into breakout rooms, we are not asking you to do an activity. We're telling you this is the activity that the class is doing, and we expect that you respect that you are in a class, which is a learning environment where everyone needs to be on board for everyone to get out of it what we are hoping for you to get out of it. So when we put you into breakout rooms to do an activity, participation is mandatory. It is not a suggestion. I'm not asking. We are telling you what the expectation is. Okay, these are our norms again. I'm not going to read them off because it will be too fast to be productive anyway. Last thing I want to go through is breakdown of your generation community. You're going to be put into learner pods. You have a Slack channel and there is an alumni network. Learner pods we'll talk about more later in the week as we assign them out. Daily community building, we have daily opening sessions, we have reflection sessions here and there. These are team building activities meant to just sort of build the community and whatnot. Small group collaboration opportunities, we have things like role plays, case studies, you have a project that you work on together. All of these things are to give you an opportunity to work with one another in a more direct way. You have beyond the instructional support, you have career coaches. They offer career guidance and assistance. They do workshops. They have office hours. They'll do mock interviews with you if you ask politely. They will look at your resume, give you feedback. They will not write your resume for you. If you send them something, they will critique it and tell you what they think you should change, but they will not make those changes for you. That is on you to make. And they will offer you counseling about career pathways. There's also a life coach. Life coaches maintain the Hub, which is a resource space for students and alumni, and they're available to meet with you to discuss health, wellness, and life management skills. Basically, anything outside of the professional side of what we're doing here, a life coach can help walk you through, give you some advice, and put you in contact with the appropriate resources. These are the emails of everyone on the team. It is our first name dot our last name at generation.org. That is the formula for how to contact most people at Generation. Not everyone at Generation. Some people's just their first name at generation.org. But for the most part, most people are going to be first name dot last name. And that is the case with all of your instructional team. Miranda Lee is the career coach for the time being for this cohort. Somebody else will be stepping in. And in fact, they may have already stepped in by the time you see this video. I do not know. But for right now, Miranda Lee is the career coach for this cohort. And again, it's miranda.lee at generation.org. Allison Meadows is the life coach. She is the life coach for this cohort. There will not be another life coach. And those are some links, some bit.ly or bit.ly links, which are available also in the Slack channel. Thank you for your active participation. I apologize that the session did probably go a little bit over, but it's a lot of information to cover. I'm so excited to have you all in class. Please feel free, do not hesitate to reach out with any questions, comments, or concerns you have about the course. And with that being said, I'm going to hand it over to your lovely, talented TAs to continue taking you through the day today. Have a good one, and I'll see you on Wednesday at 5:55 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.